What is going on, guys? I am super excited. I am ranking the early church heresies today. We're going from the 1st century to the 5th century, and I'm ranking them based on three things. I'm ranking them based on how they impacted the early church, their popularity, and how they're relevant today. Let's get started. We're going in order. I thought it would end with Pelagianism, but this actually ends with Monophysitism, so that's going to be exciting, something I learned today. So, first of all, we're going to start with the earliest of heresies, the circumcisers. Ooh, where am I going to put this bad boy, you might ask? I'm putting it in S tier because it had such a big impact in the early church. It is all over the Bible. It's in the book of Acts, chapter 10. It's in the Council of Jerusalem. It called the first council together. It's in 1 Timothy, Titus, Galatians. Paul writes about it all the time in Romans. Basically all over the Bible. What is this, you might be asking? It's where Jewish Christians asked, do I have to be circumcised when I become a Christian still? And so the very first generation of the church had to deal with this, and it started what we now have as church councils and dealing with these types of questions. And to this day, Relevance, we have Jewish Christians. They're very anti-Paul, and they want to be Christians while still upholding the old law. And we know that part of the Mosaic Law, not the 10 Commandments, but the other 300 Commandments, were meant for the Old Testament people to be set apart, to be holy among the pagan, evil people around the Promised Land, and to prepare them for the Messiah to be set apart, to start instituting morality on these, savages, including myself. I'm a savage. So. That's why we don't follow them to this day. We also have some Seventh-day Adventists that would love to go back to the Sabbath worship and other things like circumcision and the diet of, the vegetarian diet that they had to, just to have both of the covenants combined. And, as Catholics, we only do the new covenant. So definitely relevant today. S tier for that one. That is the 1st century heresy. We're going to another 1st century heresy that's in the Bible, Gnosticism. Where is Gnosticism going, you might ask? It is going in S. I'm just kidding. It's going in D tier. D tier for Gnosticism. It is in 2nd John, but John says that there are other churches that declare that the material world is evil. Evil! That's what the Gnostics believe. So the Gnostics believe that the spiritual world is good and the material world is evil. And of course, that doesn't make sense because Jesus became incarnate. Therefore, he would also have to be evil if that was true. I think this is pretty easy to defeat. Genesis tells us everything is inherently good. And we know that Christ needs to be infinitely good to get us to be infinitely good as well, get us to heaven. It says that in 2 Corinthians and Hebrews that Christ didn't sin, stuff like that. And it's implied in the gospel. So D tier on Gnosticism. Okay, now we're hitting up the 2nd century, and we are hitting up Montanism. There he is, Montanism, and it is going in C tier. So Montus, I think that's his name, Montus. He was a prophet, and he believed that he had the secret message from the Holy Spirit, that divine revelation continued after the Bible was done written. And he believed in speaking in tongues and stuff like that. So very relevant to this day with Pentecostals. We have some different heresies in there, especially unitive Pentecostals. They don't believe in the three persons of the Trinity. But we know that Montus himself was not the Holy Spirit, nor did he have a secret message from the Holy Spirit. He was just basically trying to start a cult. And pretty easy to disprove. As Catholics, we don't believe that divine revelation continued. We believe it ended with that. We just have the magisterium now through the sacrament of holy orders if we need to figure anything out. So we call these, meetings together. It's not a secret. Like all church doctrines are public. You can find anything on the internet, so it's not secret. Anything that's and I think Paul talks about this in 2 Thessalonians, where he says there are people who claim secret meetings. I'm gonna look that up after this and put it on the screen, but that's Montus. Very, very, it's not easy to disprove, but like logically it doesn't align with Orthodox Christianity. All right, number 4, we have modalism. All right, modalism. Where's modalism going? It is going in A tier. It's a 3rd century heresy. Modalism believes that God is, 3 persons, but not at the same time. So like sometimes he's God the Son, sometimes he's God the Father, sometimes he's God the Spirit. And modalism, basically, like if you were to say God is like the Son, S-U-N, where the Son itself is God the Father, the heat is the Holy Spirit, the light is Jesus, right? That's modes, right? That's not how God is. God is 100% God the Son, is God, God the Father is God, and God the Spirit is God, but they are not each other. They are different persons. Okay, so that's not what Catholics believe, and that's theology. That's called theology, the study of God in and of Himself versus the economy of His personhood. The economy means He's like expressing who He is to His creation. So very interesting stuff you can read about in the Catechism against Modalism. All right, number 5, we have a 4th century heresy called Arianism. You might have heard of it, and of course, it is going in S tier. Arianism is the one everybody knows about. It is the big bad boy of starting the Council of Nicaea and the Council of, what was the other one? It was Constantinople, I think. But it's defining Christ's divinity and defining the Holy Spirit's divinity based on this heresy. So Arius believed that he was a bishop. He believed that Jesus was actually created by God the Father, and yeah, that's about it. That's literally the heresy. And then but we say that he's consubstantial with the Father. He's the same essence kind of deal. He's not created by the Father. They're both God at the same time from the beginning of space and time. There's a lot of Jehovah's Witness that believe that Jesus was created by God the Father. I think Mormons do too. So they're definitely the big if you believe Arianism, that's a no-go for you. I definitely S tier. It's most popular. I think they ran out doctors of the church like Saint Athanasius, Saint Irenaeus, exiled popes, stuff like that. Like the Arians, they were the big deal. I think they were at some point bigger than the early church. Okay, number 6 is the Pelagianism, which I thought would be last, but is not last. It came before Nestorianism and Monophysitism. Pelagianism is a 5th century heresy, and it is a D tier heresy. I think it's one of the worst heresies. They don't believe in original sin, like Romans 5 and 7 talk about, or Jesus talks about in John 9, right? Pelagianism, they believe that original sin is not inherited, it's acquired by your surroundings, and you can actually work your way to heaven. As Catholics, we are accused by Protestants all the time of working our way to heaven through the sacraments and prayer and stuff. But we do that to keep the commandments. We do that to keep a relationship with God and to be in the fold. So whenever I'm called a Pelagianist, it's like a president being called a tyrant. Like, you're a fascist. It's like, okay, I know I'm not, and you're just using big words that you have no idea what they mean. So definitely D tier, not paying another wink to it. St. Augustine defeated Pelagianism at the Council of Carthage. He led that. And so that's why I thought it'd be the end, because I consider St. Augustine the last church father and one of the greatest. But he actually died 1 year before the next heresy, Nestorianism, where the Council of Ephesus met up, or else he'd probably destroy this one too. So Nestorianism comes next. I definitely think it's C tier. Nestorianism believes that Christ has two natures, God nature and a human nature, divine nature, human nature, but they're not at the same time. Like, he was born human and his divine nature was somewhere else or something, which was not good. So we have a whole council called on it, and a whole new feast day that is actually a requirement to go to Mass, called the Theotokos, and I believe it's January 1st. So that's Nestorianism, which actually prompted the next heresy right after it, another 5th century heresy, Monophysitism, and that was defeated by the Council of Chalcedon. And I actually think it's better than Nestorianism. I'm putting it B tier because what it is it's basically a combination of human and God person will, if you will, into one. So as Catholics, we believe Jesus is 100% God and 100% man at the same time, but they kind of mix it into like a half demigod kind of thing where his divine nature is mostly what he is, but he's also human. So the reason why it's a heresy is, where do you draw the line? Like, how much of God is he? How much is human is he? And as Catholics, we believe he's both 100% human and 100% God to get us to heaven, because he needed to be human to relate to us, and he needed to be God to get us there, right? So that is my S tier thingy. Let me know if you agree with me. Let me know if I should have made this video more funny. And yeah, so I just wanted to make this video, and I just thought it would be a good time to teach and to figure out which of these is actually prevalent to this day. So thank you for watching.